I have a question, Ram.
Yeah, go on.
What is meant by auto query? Is there any tool like that to detect the issue?
So auto query is basically like every application or every reporting tool they have auto query functionality. Basically, it will when you drag there is for reporting or application purpose when they are drag they will design universe and other thing in the background, and when you drag and drop the tables, you can do a drag and drop, and you can do it will build a query for you. That's auto query. So
Okay,
basically, I mean, so as a developer, we have to write up the query. So those queries, auto queries, are not performance tuned, and it is it will take longer time to for for us. It will retrieve the data. So basically, just to get a performance oriented, we need to write up the queries.
okay. And when I try to insert a value into the employee table,
Mm-hmm.
it was throwing an error. So I missed a small thing in the commission PCT. I just not included one S. So it was throwing an error showing that error at 13 ORA. Like
Mm-hmm.
how to detect that error?
You just you have to go one by one, where it is giving error, and just try to go on which particular, it will give the error number with the on error line as well.
Yeah.
So there you can identify, fully identify it, and so it's not I'm here to help you, if you have any, just post me the query and table structure so that I can help you in case if it is still an issue.
I already resolved it. Like I checked the whole code again.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what 13 means in that error. Let me send you the.
Yeah, usually you have to go by error name, and first thing, and the second thing is you just like we did yesterday, you have to segregate with every line you write up a small new thing. Suppose if you are inserting 5 columns, just you just try to insert in line by line, you sort, you make a sort on the insert. So that way what will happen is what will happen is it will you know where exactly the error is. I'm trying to open the I'm trying to open my SQL developer. Let's say it's not, it's throwing error like this.
And this was the code actually. I was trying to insert the data.
Mm-hmm. So in which area you got the query, means error?
Uh, I mean, here I made the same mistake again. Like to show you the query.
Mm-hmm.
Not included the I just entered the commission spelling wrong.
Oh, okay, okay,
So yeah,
okay.
you, you can find the error, right?
Right. So basically, you just enter, put a I'll show you when to debug. I'll show you in detail
Mm-hmm.
how we debug it. So other than that, anyone has any questions? So okay, so today we are going to discuss about the SQL functions. So my system is little slow today, so yeah. So we will be discussing about the SQL functions along with the functionality, and we'll practice a few things. So we have different SQL functions available in Oracle. So basically, these functions, what it does is it has each and every function has its own functionality, and it is useful for us to do some kind of function, some kind of operations on a data. So whenever we talk about select, we are talking about to retrieve the data from the database. So first of all, we create the objects using the DDL, and we retrieve the means we insert, or we manipulate the data using DML operations by inserting, or updating or deleting. We just have the data on the object on the table, and the next thing comes is what we store the data. So next step is what how it is useful, what we are going to do with the data. So next thing is how we are going to handle the data. That's the thing. So whenever we talk about the any functionality using select or functions, it's basically we are doing on a select statement. So basically what we are doing is we are retrieve the data from the we are trying to retrieve the data from the database. That's what we do. So I think is that everyone on, or I think some guys having trouble to getting connected.
Everyone is online.
Okay, and Sudhir, you are able to hear it, like, is that clear, right? Sudhir, are you there?
I think Sudhir, so microphone is not working.
Ah, okay, okay. Okay, so basically, the functions which we have like lot of functions. We have lot of functions available, but first thing is we'll be discussing about the main functions which we are going to cover today. So the first thing is the distinct means the distinct keyword, and next we cover the aliases. So this is also important thing, and we will be discussing about miscellaneous functions, and we will be discussing about the mathematical functions, and we'll go through the string of functions and date function and conversion functions. So each and every functionality has its own uniqueness, and basically what we do is using this functionality we will be retrieving the data from the table. The very first thing is the distinct. So basically so the distinct clause is used to remove the duplicates from the result set. So basically the distinct we will be using the distinct basically on the select statement. So the thing is, the statement is very simple. When you want get a unique records, so what you do is you will be writing up distinct, the condition whatever you want, and from the table and the very condition. So basically you want to find out you want to find how the distinct of how many departments are there on the employee table. So we just right now write up a statement called select distinct department number from the employee table. So we'll be practicing that later part of it, but distinct is basically which will what it does is it will give the distinct value from the given column names from a table. That's about the distinct. And the second thing is aliases. We will be I'll be covering more on when you go through the so when I go through the practice session, that will give a better idea what it gives. But we should know about the theoretical part. That's the reason I'm explaining those things. So the second thing is aliases, as it by the name itself. So the beauty of the SQL is almost all the commands, all the statements which we have on the SQL, which is basically by definition itself you can easily know, suppose if you talk about distinct, the distinct name itself, it will tell us oh, we are doing some operation based on distinct, it will give us a little idea about what each operator. So the statement will give most of the time a better idea. So if take about the DML operation, if you want to insert, you will be directly writing insert statements. So if you want to change the data, you are manipulating the data. So basically what you are doing is you are doing an update. So it will be you'll write up update statement. And the second delete, if you want to remove all the data. So basically the delete by name itself, most of the time you will be giving the you can know what operation we are going to do with that statement. So the similar thing aliases, if you want to give a different name to the table as a virtually, these are all things what we are talking is on the select statements. So on the select statement, so if you want to retrieve the information, if you want to use any table name as a different alias, if you say select star from employees, employees is always a bigger name. So if you want to keep alias simple thing like E or something like that, so that will give a better idea for you to what exactly I mean where exactly we are going to do. So let's suppose. Where it connects up. So basically, you can give the aliases I mean, on the table name, this. So we can have aliases on the column name as well as the table level. So like we have two aliases. One is on the table column aliases that gives the column information, and the second one is the table aliases, which will give table level, So so coming to here, here what we are doing is, in this example, column name alias name. So what we are doing is we are doing a operation we have a contact ID and the first name and last name. Most of the time we store the information first name and last name on two different columns. So if you want to show the first name and last name together, what we do is we use the one of the concatenation operation, and if you want to name means so it will give it vague column name. So instead of that if I want to give it a name, if you want to give it a particular name, then we give it a name, and from the table name, and this where condition you'll be giving it. So basically what you instead of it will displaying the column name as a junk value, first name concatenation last name. So if you want to name it in a better way, we are making it as an alias. So when you see the name is not no more is not a column on the table, but basically what we are doing is we are giving our own information, I mean our own column name, and it is only for that particular select means this is only for a particular select statement. So if you want to use in a different select statement, you can define in a different way. So the similar way, we have the aliases on the table name. So basically if you want to define instead of products, so if each time you want to write product dot product id or product dot product name, if you if you if you need to give alias as a simple a p value, then if you want to call it in the select statement, it will be a lot easier for us to do the write up the statement. So basically the aliases will help us to write a to write a select statement in a better way, and it will give a meaningful information for us. So so if you guys are not, I mean, are you guys are okay, or we are going too fast, or are you guys are getting uh, stop me, I mean, stop me if you guys are not getting if you guys are having a hard on understanding, so that I can explain more on that one if you guys not able to understand. So far we covered distinct and aliases. So you guys have any questions on that?
Ramgar, I want to know how exactly the aliases works.
Yeah, I'll show you on a practical session, so how does you want, you want go on topic by topic basis on a practical session, or we will cover at the end of the end of the session?
I will cover at the end of this.
Yeah, I'll go through at each and every topic as a practical session on end of the session, so that we will cover the whole, I mean, whole topic. Okay, so far, like we have discussed distinct as one of the commands, and second one is the aliases as one of the commands. So basically, so we will cover these two first, and then we'll see we'll go on next. So first, distinct is the first thing. So we have a data, we have an employee table, right?
Yeah.
So we have employees table, and it has so and so it has a certain records on that. So it has certain records on that one basically. So what distinct does, so basically whatever the SQL functions, so we will be writing on the select statements. So most of the time, when you are retrieving the data from the table, so this is the table we have a data information available. So SQL functions, what we do is when we are trying to retrieve the data in a required manner. So I want to display that certain information in certain way, then what we do is we will be writing the select statement in a particular manner. So most of the time, what we do is usually we'll be writing the query similar way, select and select and columns on one statement, and the second statement from and table names, and the third is where clause. And if you have a where statement, then we can write up the where statement. So let's leave it like that right now. So what I want is I want to retrieve, means I want to get a what are all the departments on my employees. So I want to get what are all the departments on employees. So what we does is we will be writing, we can query the table using insta select star, means it will give all the columns. So if you want to retrieve only a particular column, so we will be writing the particular column. So we'll be right. So what I want is I want all the department to see. So when you see I got duplicate values. I see all the departments from my table, but you see I got all the duplicate values. You see I mean so all the values duplicates. But what I want to know is I want to get it only the one value. I just want to know how many departments are available for my employees. So when I say distinct, so what it does is it will eliminate the all the duplicates from the table and just give it the data. Okay, so this is what we got it from distinct. So when you say order by, so when we order by, you can say one as well, or you can say DEPR. So if you see this one, you got all the departments listed on that one. So we have only 11 departments. So 11 department employees on my employee table. This is about distinct. So to eliminate the duplicate values from my table, what we does is we will be writing a distinct statement. So next one is the aliases. So what we have is let's take an example, select star from. So we have I mean so we are selecting data from the table name. So what we are giving is instead of writing usually if you want to select any data or from a table, usually we can write it, you can writing a directly column name, but the best practice is writing up with the alias name. So I give for the employee table, I give E as an alias. So I give I can give here I mean so either I can give is employees dot department ID. So I can so I can give it, I can write it like that, like, I can say number of columns, like, whatever it is. I think we have the first name as well. So you can select the data using, like, column wise as well, like, instead of select star, you can write up, like, column wise as well. So what I want is, like, instead of writing the whole table name here, so what I did is, like, I give a shortcut to that employee table. So I give a shortcut as E. So what I do is, like, instead of writing the whole employee as the table name, so I can say, like, E. So, so when I say now this one, so I get this information. So basically, like, you are giving a alias to a, like, to a name, to a table. So basically you are giving a alias to the table. So same way, like, you have the last name as well. So E dot last name. So we have a department number as well as you have the E dot last name. So you got it. But the last name and first name is on a different columns. So what I want is, like, I want first name concatenation with the last name. So I want in that way, instead of, like, I want to be in a single column. So what I do is E dot first name concatenation. I mean, see, what we're doing is, like, we are displaying side by side instead of, like, doing a different column. So E dot last name, and we are giving the means alias name as name. So here, like, what we got it, like, we have got, like, first name and last name. The same way, if you want to give it the whole thing as a name, so we are giving aliases because the name column is not there in the table. We are just mocking up. So if you see, like, name is displayed, and it is a combination of the Stephen and King. This is the concatenation of operation. So when we want to combine two columns into one single way, then what we do is, like, we will be writing the concatenation operation. So here what we discuss, we will cover that later, like, but here what we are discussing about is about the alias name. So what we do is, like, we will be writing E dot the first name and the E dot the last name, and we are giving that as name as a column name. If I don't give the alias, so this is what going to happen. So if you see that one, the column name is displayed in a funky way, like, it will be displayed as a, like, see the whole means the whole string E dot first name concatenation E dot last name is come up. So which is not good, like, if you give a query something like this, like, people I mean, it is not meaningful for us. So what we do is, like, we will be giving aliases instead of that. You can give as good as, like, whatever thing you can give a name, or you can write up, like, anything whatever you want, like, you can give it as whatever you want, like, it will be displaying in the column name. So far good, guys are following.
Yeah.
You guys have any questions on that?
If possible, can you tell me that again?
On what, like, alias or
Yeah, alias, like how did you like now the first name and last name it in combination, right?
yeah, it's a
And then
combination, right? So
how yeah,
this
I
is
did
the
not get that exactly.
right. Usually, like, don't worry about this one, like how we are concatenating and displaying the thing. So basically, like, if you want to, like, usually we do know about the name, right? Like, we most of the time, like, when you call a name, so usually it is not a first name and last name. Like, you won't call that way. Like, we say, like, Stephen, what is your name? Like, you say Stephen King. So I
Yeah,
got a requirement saying, like, I just want a name to be displayed on the requirement on the application or somewhere. So what they ask us is, like, write up a query which says, like, which has to give the, like, concat means first name and last name. So I want to display first name followed by last name in a one column, which is a name. So that, but when you go to the employee table, so when you say employee table, you don't have that, right? Like, you don't have the so you don't have the column called name. So if you see here, like, we don't have nowhere, like, name. If you see that we don't have a column available name. So what we do is, like, we will giving alias as a name, and we will be combining two things with last name and first name, and writing like, this is the concatenation operation we use usually, like, if we want to combine two things, and we will be writing a we'll giving a name as a alias. So this, don't worry about this part, like, we will covering in the later part of sessions. But just concentrate, like, I'm able to give a single, like, instead of getting a junk value, I'm giving, like, writing up a name on, giving alias to this combination. I'm giving alias as a name. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we have two things. Alias can be on the table level, or alias can be on the column level. This one is on the column level, and this is on the table level. So we will be so just remember right now, like, on for a table, like, you are giving a alias, and we will be discussing more on, like, how it is useful, like, what way it is more useful. We'll covering, like, you might have a lot of questions on, like, what is a useful, like, when we because we go more on new topics, then you will be knowing, like, each and everything is dependent on the future topics. So you'll be knowing, like, how useful it is. So first, like, understand, like, at this point of time, for a table we can give a alias anything. You can give as big as you can as well, like, you can give as good as big as you can. But most of the time, like, you can give this way as well. But most of the time you give, like, simple meaningful information. Some guys will give emp, that's alias name. So wherever you have e, so you need to change it to emp. Most of the time a single or two common, a single or two or three letters we will be giving, so that, it will be more useful. So if I say now I give employee alias as an employee, so I'll be getting this information. So when you write up a new select statement, so the alias is gonna, like, is gonna work for this particular statement. It not, it's not a permanent. Employee is a permanent table, right? It is a DDL statement. It's a permanent table, and the columns on this table are also permanent. But this one is useful only for a select statement. Are you guys following on this?
Yeah.
Okay. Even
It's
at
not
the,
displaying again like a first name and a last name.
so if I don't want, like, on the select state, like, here, like, I'm writing another query saying that, okay, I want employees information. I want employees information. So I just want, like, so instead of that, like, I want first name, last name. So you can retrieve the, so now you're not, so giving any aliases, just, you are displaying that query. So you just, so now you have in a table first name and the last name. It is on a separate column. Suppose if you want to display as a name, you can write up, like, only, you can give alias to this as well, like, instead of that, like, you can give alias to a last name as well. But this is not meaningful. But you give a meaningful meaningful column name. So basically in stuff, so we don't have a name as a last name. If you see here, we don't have a name anywhere on the column list. We don't have a name. But if you go here, if you see here, like, it is displaying as a name. Is that clear?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's about the alias. And we'll cover this one, miscellaneous function, later point of time. So we can do mathematical operations as well, from, like, on the like on the select statement. So we have a data on the table. Suppose if you want to, like, add two columns, like, if you want to add any mathematical function. Suppose if you want to add, you can write, like, plus operator as well. We have some other operators as well, average, count. suppose we were using like a day before yesterday we were using count star, right? So I want to get how many columns on my table. So what you does is like you write up a count, so it will give a count on like how many records on my table. So similar average, suppose if you have a if you have a salary, I mean if you have a salary column, I want to see on a department wise how many what is the average salary I'm giving from a company on a company. We'll come up with a scenario and we'll see like what exactly how exactly it works, but we have an average. So we can do some mathematical functions as well. You can write up a minimum and maximum. I just want to know like from my organization what is the minimum value minimum salary guy on I mean, on the list of all the employees from the employee table. What we do is like we'll write up a minimum statement, select minimum of a salary from the table name. It will give like who is the minimum, means who has a minimum value for that for on the employees table. It will display it. Similar maximum is also work the same way, like what is the max value available from my employee table, like max salary for a given employee for list of from the all the list of the employees. So we'll write a max. So we got a floor. Floor is basically like if you have 200.00, so if you want to take out like display as a one, like floor will work, and floor will work, floor we can write up floor. And the greatest will give like greatest of like two column values. So greatest of like which one is greatest, and we have a least. We'll go and try. So we have a round, like if you can round it, right? Like if your salary is 2000.86, if you round it one to round off one, what it does is instead of 866 is it take a precedence and make it as a 19. So we'll see like how round works is. And if you want to see the sum of like sum of all the like I just want to see how much I'm paying to all employees from our organization. So we'll write up like sum of salary, which will tell us like how much it is going out of it. And the two number this will cover later part. So if you come here, like so all the mathematical operations we will do on a number operations. So that's I mean simple, right? You guys are following, right? Like whenever we have a number, we can do a mathematical operations. We can't do like mathematical operations on the varchar, right? Usually, and we can't do a mathematical operation on like that doesn't make any sense. Like you can't do like even like in a real scenario we're doing mathematical operations on basically a number. So here number is salary, salary is the number, and we have the commission percentage, which is also number. We'll see like we'll describe the table and see what exactly the column name, and then we'll go from there. So if you see number column, so it is a number, salary is a number, commission is also number. We can do like manager ID and department, these are also number. So basically what we can do is we can do the mathematical operations on these things. So the first thing is like I want to see like all the employees whose salary like I just want to see how much I'm for all the employees, how much I'm paying from my company. So what I do is like select sum of. So if I say sum of the salary, it will give like it will give like it will give a value, single value, saying that like around like $691,000 I'm sending out. So instead like if you go to the table and if you calculate the whole like whole salary, if we calculate, if we go one by one and calculate the whole salary, you'll be you'll be getting the same value. So you'll be getting like 691 whatever, like so if you want to sum if you want to know like how much I'm paying to my all employees, so basically you write up a sum. And one of the scenario like we might see like I want to find out who is getting the minimum salary. So who is getting the minimum salary? So if I say minimum of the salary, So if you see like how much is the minimum salary I'm paying on my company to my employees. So if you say minimum salary, so the minimum salary is 2100. So basically like this will give the information about like who is getting the minimum values, or who is getting the minimum. So if you see here like all the table, and so if you see, this will give the chart actually. So if you see the starting value is the 200. So minimum value also we got the same thing. Suppose if I want to find it a maximum salary on my company for all employees. So what I do is, so I'll write up my maximum. So you see like the maximum salary who means the employees who are getting on my company is 24,000. So this way like you write up a like mathematical operations the similar way. So you can write up like a plus and minus statements as well. Suppose if I want to see like how much my employees are getting salary plus commission. So here like I'm getting like a 2% commission or something like that. So I just want to combine I want to see like how much I'm getting as a salary plus commission. So this is not a real scenario, but I'm just making up. So if I say salary plus, so you can write up like mathematical operations also, plus minus like into, you can write up the thing. So if it's,
Can I use the sum operation here?
yeah, you can write up sum as well, like you can do mathematical with sum. But it all depends on like what requirement we got, and like how we are getting. These are the individual operators which we are trying, but this is based on the requirements. So if you see this one like sum of something like it came up a value. So you can write up like minimum as well. You can write up whatever the operation you have, like the functionality we have.
Ram, I'm just asking you with
Hi,
the
Ram.
sum. I can do using the sum operation. Can I do it with the sum operation?
I didn't get you. Go on.
Uh,
I didn't get you.
can I write sum of salary comma commission percentage?
Yeah, you can write up that one, but that is a different scenario. So that like so we will cover this one later part of the thing. But we are means we need to have like a meaningful, like you can't sum for a like commission, right? So on the sum we are retrieving a single value, but on the commission we are retrieving multiple values. So it doesn't understand like what I have to display. So that's the reason like you don't get any return. You'll get errors here. So
Okay.
you'll get error like on a group by. We'll covering the group by information like later part of the session. So we'll cover that. Yeah. So don't worry. I mean, so we'll see like what exactly like sum and like a different column. You can write up something like department. So you can like you want to like you want to see the how many how much salary I'm paying for each department. So what you do, what you write up is a group by, but don't worry about now. We will cover later part of our sessions. So this is also one of the main functionality. So if you see now, what you get it like
Department.
so if you see like if you see on a So on we will get department wise, 10 for a department 10 I'm paying 4,400, department 30 24,000, something like that. But if we'll don't worry about this group by how it works, and I'll explain in a better way, and we'll have it in a future topic. So just understand you can
I
write
have
up some, but it depends on a particular column, that should be a meaningful information. Yeah, go on.
Ram. Yeah, I have a question. If I want to know the minimum salary of a person and I want to display the name of the person and the details of him, like how can I do that?
Yeah, name
That's the day.
minimum salary for a person. Then usually for a person it doesn't make sense. But we can write up a query, we can display it. But just for understanding point of view, I'm giving an explanation. So for a person, we don't find a minimum salary, right? For a department, for a particular department, we find a minimum salary. Suppose here, so I just want to know how much I am paying a minimum salary for a department. That does make sense,
Okay.
right? Instead of a name. So we can write up something like this, you can write up a per department. So for department 100, so department name, I'm paying minimum salary as 4,400. Similar way, you can write up a maximum salary as well. You can find it a maximum salary. Similar way, we can find out a maximum salary. I want to see how much I'm paying a maximum salary for a particular department. So if you see now, we go by department. So on the 10th department, I'm paying minimum salary as 4,500, but maximum salary as also might be we might have only one person at the time. Means one person working, or or we are paying same salary for everyone. And if you want to see for department 20, the minimum salary is 6,000 and maximum is 13,000 I'm paying, means from a company wise. So if you want to see how many employees are also there on my company, but for each department I want to see how many employees are there. So what we write up is you write up a, so you this way it will tell us how many employees are there. If you see this one, I got only one employee, and who is getting paying 4,400, and that's the reason I'm getting 4,400 for minimum and a maximum salary. If you see it now, two persons has got this one. So these are mathematical operations, you want to usually you get a requirement saying that I want to get minimum salary and maximum salary for a department wise. You write up a query, it's a combination of so many functions. It's a group by this is also we'll be using, but we'll cover later part of session, don't worry about that first. So far just understand, you can write up a if you want to find a minimum salary, you write up a minimum, and if you want to find a maximum salary, you write up a maximum. If you want to average salary, so you have an average as well, just I want to see how much average I'm paying to my means each department. So you can write up average salary as well. So you can write up you now you find average is this much. So we were discussing about round, right? I want to round off that information. So round off two, so I just want only two values on the round. So you see now you don't get a junk value. So if you see, I got only one. So you can say, you can mention round off one as well. So it will give the round. So these are the different functions available in Oracle. Most of the functions we will be writing in the select statements. So all the functions will be writing in the select statement. Just don't worry about the group by, and already know you want to sort any information, you will be using the order by. But just for a for a practice session, don't worry about the group by. We will be explaining later part of the sessions. Okay. I'm just copying so that you guys try it. These are the functions. Okay. Any questions so far? Stop me if you guys are not following or are not understanding, so that we'll stop and we'll be discussing on that one. So we covered minimum, maximum, least, I mean average, count. We covered floor, and so these are all different functions available. And so it will give certain information for, means if you want to get a certain scenario, we will be covering that. You have to know as many as you can, but basic functions which we use on a daily day-to-day basis: minimum, maximum, and we will be using average, we'll be using count most of the times, and we will be using sum, and the rest of the operations and round also most of the time we use, because you get a junk value after a precision is
I have a question, sir. What is floor? What is floor?
floor is also one of the functions. Basically it will give floor value. So I'll give an example on that one. Okay. So we have a different functions available, and so basically what we do is depend on the functionality, we will be we will be using that actually.
Okay.
Okay. And so that's about the mathematical functions. And we'll come to string functions. So the mathematical functions, basically what we do, so we will be doing on a number operator, number columns most of the time. The mathematical means in a real time scenario, we will be writing the mathematical operations on numbers. So because even we do the mathematics, any mathematical things on number values. So similar way, we will be doing all the mathematical functions on a number on a number columns, number related columns. Suppose if you try to write sum of, if you try in this example, if you try to do any operation on a varchar, it will throw error and saying that it is not a valid scenario. That doesn't make any sense, right? There is no meaning, because it is not a valid, it's not a valid number. This is just a, to get an idea what exactly. So you cannot write up a mathematical function on a varchar. That's the reason it is throwing error, it won't allow. So basically all the mathematical functions we will be writing on a on a number columns. Okay. And so we'll cover this one later. Okay. I think I'm right up something mistake. Okay, so that's about the mathematical functions. And so we will the similar way, if you want to do any operation on a string functions. So we have we have a varchar values. Suppose if you want to get a certain information from the string, then we will be using the string function. So the concatenation, basically, if you want to combine two varchar columns, character columns, and if you want to display the name, similar way what we did is for a name. So I want to display the name, but I don't have a name column on my table. So what I do is I combine last name and first name, and use the concatenation operator pipe, these two pipes. And if I do a concatenate, if I want to concatenate, you'll use the concatenate operator, and we'll concatenate those things. And the init cap, so init cap is basically if you want to display your name, the first letter as a capital letter, however it stores on the database, but on a retrieval, when I retrieve the data, when I take out the data from the table, so I want the first letter to be always capital, and the rest of the name is in a smaller way. Then we use the init cap. We'll try that one. And if I want to find the length, how many characters I have on my name, how many characters are there on the name, then you'll be writing the length character. And the lower basically, like, if you want to if the data is on the capital on the name, and if you want to display, like, lower, so low, like, if you want to display all the character on my name as a lower on the display part, then will be using the lower. And lpad, like, if you want to add hash tray in front of it, or, like, if you want to mock up some design way or something like that, then we will be using the padding operations, lpad or rpad. If you want to take out the trim, basically what the trim does is, like, if you want to take out the spaces, even spaces on a var it is calculated as one of the one of the character. Space is also, it treat the database as a character. So suppose if you someone enter the name as, like, Pratik, and they'll give space, like, that is possible, right? Like, you people use do mistakes. So from the application, how we got is, like, we'll enter, like, Pratik, and we'll enter the spaces. So basically I want to take out the spaces, as I it is already there in the databases. Then basically we use the left trim or trim operators. Replace will come, replace also, like, if you want to replace some particular word to something else, then we use the replace. And we'll be doing, like, substring basically. So instead of, like, I want to get from one value to other value, then we'll come to the substring. And toChar and toGet I'll cover later. And trim and upper, like, trim already we covered, like, we want to trim it. And the upper we already, like, if you want to display as a upper. So we'll just do a small practice one on this one, on each and everything. Okay, I think I'm so we'll cover one by one. So suppose let's, like, try to retrieve the data how it is on my database. Select star, you can write it from. So if you want to get all the values from my table, then select star from employees. So I got it, all the values. So if you see, like, if you see the Steven is not all capital letter. The data stored on the database is on a small letters. So what I want to do is, like, I want to give a alias name here, like, I want to give e dot star. So I want to display all the columns. Before that, like, I want to display the first name as a upper all character. So what I want is, like, what I do is I use the upper operator. So if I say a first name, I give alias. So I'm just mentioning e dot. So how you get, like, if you'll get all like, the value as upper. See, if you say now, so on the database it is stored as a Steven as a small, but we are mocking up using the like, all capital letter. So usually, like, so this is not a meaningful column name, like, it is not there is no meaning for that. So I just give a alias, column level alias, as, like, just instead of that already we have a first name. So I'm just giving just a first name. So now if you see, now get a first name, and, like, as all capital. The similar way, like, I want to so I want to see all the character as a lower character. So what I do is, like, I write up lower of the first name. So I'll give alias name as I just give some, like, meaningful column name. So this will work only for this query. So if you see now, so it will give the, like, most of the time the errors, usually, like, it will give the line number 16. So if you see now, so this is line number 16, you guys are seeing, like, this is line number 16, and you have error on a 69. Just if you see, most of the time it will give like correct the correct number, like you see the line number 16 and line column number 61. So most of the time it gives, sometimes it gives the vague error message as well, but just you need to be, you need to practice few things so that it will come up. So if you see now the the first name in the database is called first letter as a capital, and rest of things are small letter, but I want to see the first name totally as a all small letters. You'll go by that. And the init cap. So if you want to display the first letter, I have the email address. So I have the email address. It has all capital letters, but I don't want in that way. I want a similar way to what the first name has. First letter as a capital and rest of all the small letters. So you'll write up a init cap. So it does is I just email. I let up on an email. So I'll give a alias as well, column level alias as email. So if you see now email, we have all capital letter, but if you see init cap, it will give the first letter as small, similar to first name, how it is the first name, similar to that one, you'll rest of the characters as a small letters. So and we already practiced I think just give me a second. I got my keyboard has some problem. Just give me a second, guys. Okay, let's try. I'll have some. That's fine. Okay. So so we are at. So I want to get a init cap will work in that way, and okay. Okay. So as we tried we tried always the concatenation. So if I want to concatenate, so what I do is e dot last name and concatenation e dot first name. So as name. So basically if I want to try that. Okay, so now I got it. So so if something is missing, then it's giving error, like so it's always like look for a last value as something. So last value as like without comma, then it's give error. So if you see now, like I concatenated the first name and last name, but this is like overwriting, like there is, I just want to give one more space. So basically what you do is I just give a space, and then I just add up again. So now we get like as a space. So basically this I mean, so if you see now, like you see a single space, and if you can give as many spaces as you can, but just means you will be writing a query based on like meaning field. It will give like as many spaces as you can, like the similar way, like uh, so these are like few like few these are few like string operated functions which we have, like concatenation, init, cap. We'll cover, like you'll go like you just try, like the other functionalities, and if you have any issues, like you can you just like we'll discuss on tomorrow's practice session. Suppose one more important thing I want to show you is the substring. So this is also basically we use most of the time. So I have my first name, like Steven, but some reason, like I have been asked to display only first three characters. So I just want to get only first three characters of my first name on my whole list. So basically what we do is, like you write up a substring function. Substring is basically you are trimming at a certain level. So substring of first name, I just want to display starting from first character till third character. So then I just give alias as something like sub substring first name. Just I give like just a meaningful information. So if you see now, like you will be getting, if you see now, like the first name is Steven. If you see now, like I just displaying like first three characters, just only the starting three characters. So that way, like you will be display like you will be, if you want to display first four character, you just simply go here and just type like 4. So basically, like you will be getting the first four characters. So sometimes you've been asked, like display like trim or display like only for a particular means character, then you will be using the substring, like you are trimming it using the substring. Replace, I'll be means replace is just replace. Suppose I want to replace the first name. So suppose the first name is King. I want to replace, let's suppose Stephen King. So I want to replace the King name to, like uh, Stephen again, like just I want to make it like Stephen again. So I got a requirement saying, like wherever there is a King, just mark it as a Steve, as I give a meaningful meaningful alias name. So if you give like that, then so if you see, like wherever I have replace, I've been replacing like Steve. Okay, last name as a King. Okay, so I just make it a last name because I thought it. So if you see the last name King, so it will be replacing with the Steve. So this is this is we are doing on a select statement. We are not manipulating the physical data on the table. So you just need to understand whatever I'm doing it. So if you see select star from employee, none of the data is stored. So we are not doing any physical change on the data. We are just the way we are displaying, the way we are showing the data to the means application, or whatever the application we are using. If you want to change the appearance of the call, of the data, if you want to show it in a particular way, then we will be writing these functions. If you want to store the value as a physical way, then no, you'll be using the update statement. You guys are following so far?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You guys have any questions? Okay, and this about the string functions will be just I'll put this document in the shared drive. Just go through each and everything, practice as much as you can, so that if you have any questions on any of these functions, just let me know. We have so many functions available, if you google it on string functions, you'll be getting 100. But I just took it most most used one, this one, so these are the most used one, 90% of cases. And so what I've been going through the most used ones, that one. Okay, and I guess are okay so far, or it's too much? So
Yeah, they are.
I thought I'll be covering date functions and conversion functions, but it again takes some time. So I'll be covering these two, date functions and conversion functions. So I just give a brief on the conversion functions, just to get an idea tomorrow when you're coming that one. So you guys have have an idea on the data types, right? So we got different data types. One is a character, one is number, and we have a date, and club and blob, that's a different thing. So basically we have a character on the table, and we have a var2, and we have a number on the table. But for some reason we want to convert as a display, as a display we want to convert from character to a number, or number to a character. If it is possible, number to a character, character to a number. If you want to change the data type on a appearance way, I mean on the select statement, then we have to use either of the function, to char, to date, to club. Most of the time we don't use, but you can do the to club as well, but to number. Suppose for example, so here on the employee table, so on the employee table you have so you have commission as a number. These are the number columns, right? But you just want to so that one, on appearance wise, I just want to show as a character. So I just say to char of, let's say, salary. So what it does is it will just that it won't change the physical data, means physical means it won't convert on the physical database, means physical way on the data, but it just on a means retrieval purpose, it will be converting. So if you see now, you don't see much difference, but this is a character now, on a virtual way, this is the character now. So so suppose if you want to do certain operations on a certain things, then no, we'll be using this. But just remember, you can convert data type on a select statement. You just can convert a data type. So basically I'll be covering more on this tomorrow, how what are the ways and how it is useful. But just for understanding, you guys think like this is like to convert a data type on a select statement, then we will be using one of these conversion operator, whatever we want, we have to use. So and date as well, this is most important, and I'll be covering this as well tomorrow, like date and the conversion operators I'll be covering, and then we'll cover the rest of the like we'll go jump onto the other things as well. I'll put this one on the shared folder, this
Can you
PPT.
keep even yesterday's class on that?
Yeah, I'll be putting that as well, like in today's as well. So on this PowerPoint, just try to cover as many just practice as many as you can, so that it will be easier, like you will be having more classes and more topics, and you will be if you guys don't do the practice, then it will be harder for you to catch up the next item. So if you don't understand alias, in future, I'm writing up queries using the alias, so you guys don't follow that. And if I'm writing a bigger queries, right now we are writing 3 or 4 lines queries, but you'll be writing up 10 or 15 lines queries depending on the scenario. So if I using conversion operator, to char or not, means or to date or to number, if you don't guys follow what is the conversion operator, then you guys, if you don't guys, then it will be means you don't catch up that particular topic as well. So be practice on whatever we have. I try to give exercise, starting from tomorrow I'll try to give the exercise for you guys, so that next day you will be coming and practicing the exercise sessions. So far, do you guys have any questions?
Noted.
I have a small question.
Yeah, go on.
Like we can insert the data like multiple, like now we are inserting data, like just one data. We can insert like multiple data at once.
Oh, you want to insert multiple insert. You have to write up insert statements. You have to write up the insert statements and go on.
Okay.
Just only one insert statement and multiple values is there, no?
No.
Is
You
it
have
works?
to write up. You have to write up for every. Suppose if you want to. You have to write up each and every. For each and every record, you have to write up each statement.
Okay.
Uh,
Is that okay? I mean, so you guys are following.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, hello. Yeah,
so
hi
there is
Ravi,
no simple.
Ravi.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, actually, I had a question like, can in the same search query, can I retrieve a data from one table and I can insert into another table?
Yes, you can do that. So that is that I haven't covered so far. That is I thought it is too much for you guys. Yes, you can retrieve. Listen, so if you retrieve a data from a table and you can load up another table. Suppose we have. Yeah, even Mac can work. I'm not sure who was charting that. Yeah, Pratik, you can use on Mac as well. You have to download the Mac version. So I have a table. Okay. So where I can say salary greater than I say 50,000. So I have these records right now. I got let's see how many records I got it. I got it. Let's let oh it's just let's means I'm taking just a smaller set. Oh no, 20,000. Let's see. I got one. Means let's take a few more. Let's take 10,000. So let's see how many we got it. So we got 15 records. Okay. I'm creating one more table. I just want to load all this information. I'm just write up a DDL statement. So this one I just create as a table name. Create table employee. I'm just giving employee, and I'm writing like salary, employee salary. Like I'm just giving a table name as a this one. I want to put all the whatever I have in the select statement. I just want to put it on the on that on this table on the employee salary table. Then I'll write up something like this. So the employee salary table is created. So now if you select it, select star from employee salary, you have 15 records. Whatever the 15 records on the select statement, you have 15 records. If you see now, you have 15 records. Okay, so now I have the right. This is one of the way to create a table as well as loading the data. But I have a table already. I want to insert let's say I say I want to salary between 5,000 and 10,000. I just see how many records I get. I'll just make it like 8,000. Okay. So I have a data something like this. So I mean, let's say how many records I got it. So let's say so so I have a table like this, and I just so I want to insert these things on the table. We have a structure, we have a table, physical table available, and I want to insert right now we have only when you query this one, if you see the salary, you see if we have salary records more than 10,000. So but I have a salary records which have which are between 8,000 and 10,000. So I want these records to be on the employee salary table as well. So what you do is insert into employee salary and select star from table name. So you see 17 records got inserted. Now I can, as this is an insert, it won't auto commit, so you have to do a commit, right? Earlier one is a DDL statement, so that's the reason you are not you don't need to commit. So now I committed this one. So now when I say select star from employee, so you see the records, you see more records. Earlier it was we have only 15 records. Now you see the salary of other other data as well. Is that clear your question, Ravi? Is that clear for you?
Yeah, it's clear. It's clear.
So basically you can write away. So you just query the thing write a statement and load it. Okay, and yeah, I'll be putting the presentation in the on the shared drive, and but the thing is practice, guys. Practice is the most important thing. You need to have to practice. Just practice as much as you can. Okay. Otherwise, it will be more tougher for you guys. In on the new topics. So far, good, guys.
Did you upload yesterday's?
I'll upload that as well. So for but just practice, that's most important. Otherwise it will be it's not that helpful. If I take a class and if you come up, if you don't come up with the questions on the next day class on the previous day, then it won't be I mean, so you guys are not following something. So practice, and if you have any questions, come up with the questions on the next day class. Okay, and Pratik, you have to download the Mac version. Let's try to Google it and just download it. Try to download it, Mac version of the Oracle 11G Express edition. If you don't have, if you still have a problem, we'll see, you share up your screen and we can see, try that. Okay. Is that okay, Pratik?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah, hi Ram, this is Ravi.
Yeah, Ravi.
So when you are going to explain about nested subqueries and correlated subqueries and all,
Right, right. That's still the topics. Let's go on.
yeah, like those are pretty much important for us.
Yeah, yeah. So, like I'll sometime like this week only we will be covering that. I'm not sure when. Like I'm just going one by one. I'll be covering the joins and other stuff, and then I'll be covering the nested loop. It depends
Okay,
like which class it is. So I'll be
okay,
going sequence way. Okay. Then if you
yeah,
have any questions as well, you can go on at the time. Okay.
yeah, sure.
Okay, guys. Have a good night, guys. You guys have any questions so far, or okay? Good night, guys.